Welcome to Speak for Yourself. Marcellus Wiley here. Manuel Acho, he's out today. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep this thing going, moving right along with a highly anticipated reunion. Not me and Acho. But in case you've not heard, it's Tom Brady, and he's back in New England this Sunday night. Brady's Bucs are the defending champs, yeah, while Bill Belichick's Patriots are currently 1-2 and maybe rebuilding. But the former Patriot is not thinking about the past, saying Thursday, quote, I still have a lot of great friends there, but they know I want to kick their butt this week. Joined now by Bucky Brooks and Slick Rick the Bucher. So, Slick, who needs to win more, Tom Brady or Bill Belichick?
We all know the answer to this, Marcellus. It's Bill Belichick needs to win. I know we can look at standings and we can look at expectations and we can look at where these teams are respectively in their divisions and in the league. But here's the reality, is that Bill Belichick has been losing to Tom Brady ever since Tom Brady left and went to Tampa Bay.
Oh, wow.
Bill Belichick went 7-9 last year, while Tom Brady went off to Tampa Bay and won a Super Bowl. Oh. Bill Belichick is the guy who didn't want Tom Brady anymore. At least that's how the narrative goes. Bill Belichick is the guy who wouldn't even meet with Tom Brady before he left. Just let's keep it to a phone call. Let's keep this professional after 20 years together. It was Bill Belichick who ultimately spent a record $159 million on free agents this year and got his new quarterback, his shiny new quarterback, Mac Jones. So you can tell me all you want about where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are and what they need, but the fact of the matter is, in the court of public opinion, Bill Belichick is getting his ass kicked right now, and he needs a victory against Tom Brady, and this is his opportunity to get it.
Man, you know there's going to be a fire show if in the A block we get an ass. Oh, we got two now. All right, we got it going right now. I'm with you, Slick, except you picked the wrong dude. It's Tom Brady. For every point you made, that's why Tom Brady needs to go out there and finish the deal. It's Slick. I know you're a married man right now. Your wife watches our show faithfully. I've noticed that because I've well, when we're in Vegas, never mind. All right, so here's the thing, Slick.
I hear that.
Look, before we all got married, we were somewhere. I ain't gonna say Slick was fully in the streets, but you know some game right here. Let's talk about how you're out there winning. You're globetrotting. You're Tom Brady. You're the champion of the world, even though you only play teams in the United States. But you're still the world champion, right? Okay, you're Tom Brady. You're fresh, fresh. And you the man everywhere you go, and you're winning the divorce. But then you go back and see your ex. And you go back to y'all house where you used to live, where you helped build that house. And you up in there, your ex up in there. So I guess seems like the ex won part of that divorce because you go to court and your ex gets to keep the house. Part of a win, right? So Bill Belichick sitting up there all grumpy in his house that y'all helped build, but you ain't there no more. Lonely nights. And then he sees you on the other side of the field, and he ain't got to say nothing. And you don't have to say anything. You letting that ring shine from the other side of the field. Everyone's saying, oh, Tom the Terrific is here. And then all of a sudden, incompletion. Then all of a sudden, interception. And all of a sudden, no points. And all of a sudden, everyone starts to say, you are the man. You are a made man. But now we know who made you. It's Bill Belichick. You can't go out there and have the whole world under your thumb if you're Tom Brady. But then Bill Belichick just looking at you like this. In the backseat of a caddy, staring at you like, I always got your number. I always got who you are. Think about this, because it happens a lot. Patrick Mahomes is amazing. Nobody could go walk up to Patrick Mahomes and say nothing except Tom Brady in the playoffs. And then Tom Brady's amazing. He's the GOAT. And nobody can walk up to Tom Brady and say nothing except Eli Manning when it comes Super Bowl time. You do not want to be that one dude that everyone looks at the corner of the room. He's sitting there in a linen suit just giggling. Like, yeah, all right, I got your number, no matter how you're out there looking successful and winning. So if Tom Brady wants to finish the deal, the championship was won last year, but to get your name back and get yourself disconnected fully from Bill Belichick and his greatness, you need to take care of business this week.
I mean, it has to be Tom Brady. I mean, Tom playing with the loaded squad. Tom Brady has all the advantages in this matchup. This isn't like we're seeing a fair fight. I mean, this is Bill Belichick bringing a butter knife to the gunfight. He doesn't have anybody to play with. There is not. I don't know if there's a single Patriot that could start on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Not a D lineman. No one on the Patriots could start over Jason Pierre-Paul, Shaq Barrett, Vita Vea, and Dominican Sue. Not a linebacker, Levante David, Devin White. Not even a wide receiver. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Gronk. There is nobody that could start on the Patriots. That's on the Patriots that can start on the Bucs. In fact, this reminds me of watching LeBron because we're holding Bill Belichick up to the LeBron standard. Well, LeBron is playing the 2015 finals. He's got Mozgov and Dellavedova and J.R. Smith and all these guys, and they're going against the Warriors. And here we are saying, well, if LeBron's the man, he got to figure out a way to beat Steph Curry and this crew. That is a dynasty. It ain't going to happen. We can't judge Belichick on this. If Tom Brady can't win with this squad, it's an issue. I'd be more concerned about that than anything. Belichick doesn't have a shot.
See, I knew, Bucky, you were going to come with logic. And I am not going to question the logic of this. The logic says that the Bucs need to win in order to keep pace with the Panthers. The logic says that the Bucs are the better team, that this is no contest. But that's playing the game here. And what we're talking about is right here. Because it's gut level. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Look, all that Bill Belichick has done, this idea that Tom Brady is the reason that they won all those championships, that's what I keep hearing. He's the reason that he's the bigger reason they won all those championships because Tom Brady went and won a Super Bowl in Tampa Bay. That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not sure it makes any sense to you guys. But that's the whole thing. It doesn't have to make sense. It's how people perceive this battle right now, which is that Bill is losing because he didn't want Tom. Tom left, took his ball someplace else, and won another Super Bowl. So Bill has to demonstrate that, you know what, Tom? I made the right move. And as I said, I spent a record $159 million to prove that I could put together a team, a successful team, without you. And it may not be good as Tampa Bay's team right now. But Bill is certainly trying to demonstrate that he's capable of making one. And this is not, again, this is the expectations of the Patriots and what they were going to do and who needs to win at, like, it's not a matter of who needs a win. Tom Brady needs a win. Who needs this win? Bill Belichick needs this win. If he gets no other win this year, he needs this win.
Man, stop. It's Tom Brady.
Marcellus, you're struggling because you know, gut level. Not here.
No.
Here.
No.
I am right on this.
No, I'm struggling because you just said it doesn't make sense, so therefore you want to go with the argument that doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense that people are out there saying that
That's not what I'm saying.
You did say that. You said you just got tired of fighting it, sound like. Look, people are out there saying stuff from their gut, and it doesn't make sense. So instead of you fighting them, you're just going to let's go with the flow because it doesn't make sense. As my grandma used to say, you can't make sense out of nonsense. So we're not going to have that conversation. We're going to have a real conversation up here. We're going to have a conversation that I heard one time from Jay-Z. What Jay-Z saying to Takeover? Don't make me expose you to those that don't know you. And think about that if you Bill Belichick looking at Tom Brady. Like, everybody see those rings, huh? They see the 6 we got together, but now they want to clown me because you got a 7th one without me. Going to a fully loaded Voltron team that had running game, defense, 2 1,000-yard receivers, and a winning coordinator who's now a head coach. Oh, and now you looking at me. I'm over here rebuilding my mansion, and you over there on the mega mansion in the Beverly Hills Flats, and everybody clowning me. Okay, don't make me expose you to those that don't know you. Don't make me have to remind people that our first 5 playoff games together, which included a Super Bowl championship, Tom Brady, you only threw for 58% completion percentage. Tom Brady, your quarterback rating was 76. Don't make me expose you to those that don't know you, because if I help build you, I know how to break you. So in this conversation, it's Tom Brady who does not want to be that guy. I grew up in the era of Tom Brady and Peyton Manning in terms of my NFL experience. And I remember every player I knew was saying Peyton Manning way better than Tom Brady. But you know what was funny? Tom Brady just kept looking at Peyton Manning and like, yeah, let him be better than me. See this ring, see this ring, see this ring. So you don't want to be the guy that wins everywhere else except when you look at that guy eye to eye. Tom Brady got the world under his thumb, but Bill Belichick can lift it up.
Slick Rick, I thought you would be one that would always be about facts over feelings. I cannot believe you poured yourself into an emotional argument like a fanatic, like a fan to think about Tom Brady and Bill Belichick in this debate. But here's what I'm going to say, because for the longest time over the 20-year career that Tom Brady had in New England, there was a perception that maybe he was a system quarterback, that Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels and Charlie Weiss and all these guys had created a system that enabled Tom Brady to have the success. So if Tom Brady goes back to Foxborough and he is known as the GOAT, well, baby goats are called kids. If he loses to the kid, Mac Jones, the little goat, the kid goat, that Bill Belichick is saying, this is my next prize pupil. He's the next one that I'm bringing up in this system. If he loses to the kid, the little Billy goat, all of those things that we talk about Tom Brady being the greatest and all this other stuff, it just makes us pause a little bit because maybe he's a GOAT by circumstance and maybe he's not necessarily the greatest of all time on his own accord. So he goes to Foxborough with all the pressure having to prove that he can do it on his own without the services and the support of everything that was around him in New England. I'm just saying it creates that argument. If Mac Jones outplays him in a win, maybe it was the system, not the play.
If he hadn't already won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay, I would agree with you. That would be on the table. But we're not taking everything away from Tom Brady if he loses this particular game. And the reason that I keep talking about the emotional aspect of this is because that's how it's being framed in the public eye. I said at the very beginning, this is a matter of the court of public opinion, not the technical aspect of who is the better, because we can never decide that. We're comparing a quarterback to a head coach / GM. There's no way to compare that in some logical sense. It's all a matter of public perception and who we think is winning. And Marcellus, you gave it to me right there. I wasn't going to go logic, but you just put it on the table for me, and I appreciate that, brother.
Always, brother.
You just said Belichick has this image of, you know what? I built you up, Tom Brady. I know how to break you. So the thinking in this game is, I don't care what he's got. I don't care if he's got a butter knife. This is the great Bill Belichick who always found a way to seemingly take lesser talent as long as he had Tom Brady and win Super Bowls. So, Bill, show us that you're the master. Show us that you can take apart Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as a few other teams have already taken them apart. And show us that you're capable of that. That is why Bill has something to prove in this game. If the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lose this game and they go on and they win another Super Bowl or they make their run, they win the next 5 games, nobody's going to remember that they lost in New England. But if Bill wins this game, it has a completely different feel. Bill has demonstrated, Tom, you can go win a Super Bowl without me, and you can go beat just about everybody else, but you don't have my number.
I don't want to hear that. That was interesting. That was a good pushback. Like the wind of your punch. You missed me with the punch, but the wind of the punch kind of grazed me right there and had me affected. I hate to do this, man, because I think Tom Brady is just beyond superlatives. Like, whatever I'm going to say, he's more than that. Tom Brady's insane, but Tom Brady knows the game as well. Like, you got to get into the position where you're the father. You're not getting sunned in any of these conversations. That's why no matter how great Peyton Manning was in his 5 MVPs, Tom Brady was able to sun him. And think about it. Those are 2 guys who don't even play against each other. Talk about logic. They play against the other team's defense, but at least they crossed the white lines. Then you saw Eli Manning, who's lesser than Tom Brady, able to sun him in the biggest moments. They're once again going against defenses. The logic of it, but it makes no sense. But they crossed the white lines. We got to give respect to that. Then Tom Brady looks at Patrick Mahomes, who's supposed to be the next GOAT, and he's able to sun him because he's like, dog, you can't even beat me when it matters most in the playoffs. This is something. However, Bill Belichick is a coach. He ain't crossing them lines. And if Bill Belichick is able to just sit there mentally and have that Jedi mind trick over Tom Brady still, that's a big problem. And let me remind you who Bill Belichick is, because I gave Tom Brady his flowers. I don't think y'all put enough respect on Bill Belichick. If we were to grab Sean Payton, Pete Carroll, Andy Reid, Bill Cowher, Tony Dungy, Mike Tomlin, and add them all up and look at them, 6 amazing coaches, probably all Hall of Famers, right? And Bill Belichick, like, can you go get somebody else to surpass me? Because right now, that ain't enough. The dude got 6 solo creep by himself out there maxing the game. So Tom Brady knows for him to be the man, the full GOAT, he got to go slay the father. Coming up, Joel Embiid said the Ben Simmons situation is borderline disrespectful. I'll tell you if I have a problem with him calling out his teammate, like Slick just called me out. But first, Dak Prescott thinks his offense can get better. Tell you if it's already the best in the NFC. That's next on Speak for Yourself. Where you at out there?
Let's head to Dallas. Dak Prescott is getting MVP attention and was compared this week to Drew Brees and Peyton Manning. His offense is ranked 5th overall in the league, and the Cowboys QB was asked Thursday if he agrees with teammate Amari Cooper that this is the best that he has played. Take a listen.
I'd say yes, I think it is, but there's a lot more to go. And I feel like each game that I go into, I'll get better and better. And I think that's the way that I attack life and I attack the preparation and just this game. And not only me, but this offense and this team will do the same.
So, Marcellus,
what?
Do the Cowboys have the best offense in the NFC?
Look at all them pregnant pauses you got when you're reading, including the beginning. That was a 9-month. That was 3 trimesters right there. All right. It's like, you going to read?
Q would help.
You better recognize. No, they don't have the best offense in the NFC. And this is no slight to the contenders. Let's talk about the real contenders. It's Arizona, it's Dallas, it's the Rams, and it's Tampa Bay. Like, let's just stop playing. However, I'm going to go with the Rams offense as my favorite offense in the NFC. Now, the stats support it to a degree, but what fully supports it is when you start to look at the individual components. Okay, let's just go here. If you talk about a quarterback right now, who has the most arm talent? Who is the most natural thrower of the football? Who can get you the big ball but still be efficient? I would go with Matthew Stafford, and I would take him over the other contenders. Yeah, I know Tom Brady's in there as well, but I'm talking about taking the lid off of a defense. I kind of want to go with Matthew Stafford and that third-ranked scoring offense. Now let's talk about in terms of who is calling the plays, who's in his ear. Would you want to go with Kellen Moore, or would you rather go with Sean McVay, I say? Yeah, I'd rather go with the offensive genius versus the up-and-coming offensive coordinator. And last but not least, the running game. Like what Tony Pollard is to the Dallas Cowboys, I like to look at Henderson as he's the guy that they already know, when healthy, is the guy for the Rams. Obviously, they got Sony Michel in the building, who's been doing good in his spot duty and relief. But if you look at the individuals of this offense, I would actually rather go with those pieces in comparison to the Dallas Cowboys. So Dallas Cowboys in the conversation, of course. Top 4 NFC, of course. Talent laden, yes. But if you want me to answer this, I got to go with those Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, I don't know that I'll go with the Los Angeles Rams, but no, to answer the question, no, the Dallas Cowboys do not have the best offense in the NFC. I'm actually surprised. The pregnant pause was, I can't believe we're asking this question, to be honest with you. It's like, right. What are we doing here? Because
ignorant.
To your point, I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals simply because I am going to go with proof to this point. In terms of balanced offense, they are number 2 in all of the NFL, and they also have the talent to back it up. Yeah, you can go with arm. I'm not going to argue that with Matt Stafford, although I think there's still something to be demonstrated there. But the fact of the matter is, when I look at Kyler Murray and what he's able to do as a dual threat what they have in terms of running, what they have as receiving. I look at the entire package. I look at how they've scored, the balance in TDs from rushing and passing. All of it says that as of right now, the Arizona Cardinals have the best balanced offense in the NFC. And the Dallas Cowboys, to your point, Marcellus, are not second. They're not third. They're at best fourth. And a case could be made that they are just sliding into the top 5. But I don't know. I have this feeling that Bucky might be going in a different direction. I will actually be shocked if he does not.
You already know.
What are we doing? Like, what are we doing? See, because, like, Rick, just because, like, basketball is your normal thing, I know you know talent. And so I'm so blown away by that assessment. And Marcellus, like, you were playing the league, and so I know you know what talent looks like. And so when we talk about best offenses, I think we should break it up by units, right? So we're breaking it up by units. We're breaking it up.
Let's go.
And we'll look at quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers and tight ends, and then offensive line. And when I look at the Cowboys dominate all those categories against all those teams that you talk about. They're the most complete offense in football. When I look at, Marcellus brought up the L.A. Rams. The L.A. Rams are nice. Matthew Stafford is a nice player. But then when I go to their wide receivers, I'm looking at Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. They're better players than Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. I'm just saying.
In production, not this year.
What is better individual players? We're talking about talent. We're not talking about yards and how it's generated. Running backs, Henderson and Sony Michel over Zeke and TP. Come on, that's done. We're done with that. Offensive line goes to the Cowboys. The Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray is fantastic. He's on a great pace. So we can talk about that being a debate in the conversation. Running backs? You don't even know who their running backs are. I don't even know who their running backs are. They don't give the ball to the running backs. So we'll take that off the table. DeAndre Hopkins is a great player. But A.J. Green just had his first 100-yard game in like 3 years. We can't put him in that conversation like he's a great player. Their offensive line, they can't hold up versus pressure. So let's remove that. The only conversation it is between the Dallas Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the deciding factor comes down to the quarterback. Dak Prescott is playing at a better level, at a higher level than Tom Brady right now. That is the deciding factor in the debate. The running back goes to the Cowboys. The other stuff we can call a push. The Dallas Cowboys clearly are the number one offense in the NFC. I don't even know why we're talking about it. Like Rick said, why are we even having this discussion? They're number one. Give them the title.
Well, look, I get a piece of that why we having this conversation, and I think the answer is because it's not adding up. You're right. If you made me go to right now a local park and just see all these players coming from those 4 teams we mentioned, I'm drafting a gang of Cowboys. And then I'm going to look at my record or I'm going to look at my production and say, what the hell's going on? Like, I thought I got the best players. Like, why is Cooper Kupp over there lighting it up? CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, and you got Dak Prescott, so don't act like that. Look, I'm not sneezing at either one of those guys, but Cooper Kupp is doing something special right now, and that's in part because of the relationship with him and Matthew Stafford. That is something you got to respect. You also got to respect that when you talk about these teams, it's not just about yards. Like the Dallas Cowboys are outpacing my team, the Rams, in yards, but not in points. It's weird. Like, okay, go between the 20s. Look cute, look cute, look cute. Maybe be behind in some of these situations. But when it comes to getting to the pay dirt, the Rams are the ones that could do it. Just think right now, NFL, if someone just took us to another planet and say, I want you to download your NFL memories of 2021, I ain't gonna lie, dog. It's gonna be a lot of them bombs from Matthew Stafford. It's gonna be like, boom, Matthew Stafford, boom, Matthew Stafford. It's what highlights from the Dallas Cowboys. Seriously, Zeke scoring from the inch line 2 times on Monday night? Like, that's not gonna do it. And I know Dak Prescott has returned to form and looks greater than he ever looked. However, I just don't see it totally adding up in terms of their firepower and explosiveness. But with the Rams, not only are they meeting expectations, some would say this early on, they're exceeding expectations.
Bucky, you are a true believer. This is why I love having these conversations with you, especially when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. Because I'll look at it and go, I don't know how he's going to do it, but I know he's going to do it. He's going to make something out of this. He's going to find a way. I'm glad you compared Dak Prescott to Tom Brady because I see some other similarity, and it's not just how they're operating as quarterbacks. It's how they're operating when they're under pressure. Dak Prescott clearly either doesn't trust that ankle or does not want to get hit again, because as soon as there is pressure, he is going down. Tom Brady's the same thing. He knows I'm 40 plus. I want to fight to live another day. How you are going to take away from Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals that they have a quarterback that can run? Are you making the same argument with Lamar Jackson? You can't count their rushing game because they're getting a lot of their rushing game from their quarterback. I don't care where it comes from. They've got a rushing attack that balances out their offensive aerial attack. So how and where that comes from, I really don't care. But let's not forget that these offensive numbers that Bucky is pointing out and all this talent, you know what? They ate against the Eagles. That's the biggest reason that we're having this conversation. In the division, Dak Prescott is everything that you say he is, Bucky. But we go outside of that division and things change just a little bit. When we play a legitimate defense, things change a little bit. And I dare say we're probably going to see that this weekend when he goes up against the Carolina Panthers. So all that I hear about Dak Prescott and what he's doing, yes, through a certain lens, it is accurate. But you just jump to this assumption like Dak Prescott is the best quarterback in this conversation. And I can't make that leap of faith right now based on what I've seen and who they play.
See, there we go again. We got these analytics creeping into the thing. I didn't know quarterback wins were a stat. I get confused on what we judge quarterbacks on. Do we judge them on wins or do we judge them on yards? I just would like a fair barometer so we can figure out who is the best so I can show you how number 4 stacks up. But let's go with this because I think Marcellus likes to use this Wileyism. So I don't have a Buckyism, but my dad has some Blakeism. And my dad said, because Rick Bucher talked about, I see Dak Prescott falling down or whatever. My dad said, you don't get old by being a fool. And so, just like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady played a long time by not getting sacked, that's what Dak Prescott is doing. He saw last year what happens when he runs around and broke his ankle. And what he did is, I can't keep getting this dough if I'm on the shelf. So I'm no longer taking hits, which is fine. But let's talk about this argument because I know Marcellus is over here talking about Cooper Kupp ringing up these yards. I noticed you ain't talking about Darrell Henderson ringing up yards. I know you ain't talking about Sonny Michel ringing up yards because Cooper Kupp is ringing up yards because they run the ball. The Cowboys have so much talent. It's not enough. Everybody's eating. So it's hard for any one person to get full. They all are at the table getting it done. And so when we look at these offenses and you guys want to go by system or collection and, hey, if we're in the park, we take the Cowboys, but we're not in the park, all I can do is go by the talent. The best offense has the most talent because as Marcellus loves to say, and he told me early this week, hey, man, it's players, not plays. If I got the best individual players, shouldn't I have the best individual unit? So that the Cowboys have the better players.
Unless some part of that process, some part of that structure is not up to that talent level. Play calling, I don't know. Coaching, I don't know. Human chess pieces being put in the proper place, I don't know. Y'all are 11th in yards per play, while my Rams are 3rd in yards per play. I don't know. I don't even want to be up here, Bucky, like Mr. What'd you call him? Blakeism? Respect to Pops. I don't even want to disrespect Pops up here. We talking about 4 MVP candidates right now at the quarterback position of these 4 teams. And I like your Pops for saying fools don't grow old. But I just want to ask you one question, Bucky. How old are you? Speaking of the Cowboys, fans have won nearly $5 million on the Fox Bet Super 6 app. Your old ass. And Terry Bradshaw is putting another $100,000 on the line for NFL Week 4. Maybe your daddy don't know about that one. Download the app now and play along with us. Panthers-Cowboys is one of the matchups, and 57% of America is picking the Cowboys so far. So, Slick, get us started. Who wins by how many points?
Well, I hope this doesn't sound contrary, but I do have the Dallas Cowboys winning 21-17. They're not going to cover the spread, but they're going to win because they're going to get a pick 6 from Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's not going to survive in Jerry World, and that's going to be the difference. It's not going to be Dak Prescott in that offense against the top 10.
Interesting. Bucky?
Wow, that's amazing. As a proud American team is winning this. 34-28. The Cowboys have this one on lock. I'm going with Dak Prescott. Let's wave the flag.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you there. Let's wave the flag, Bucky, right now. Cowboys by 3. 25 to deuce. Don't miss your chance to win big. Scan the QR code on the screen. Download the Fox Bet Super 6 app and predict the outcomes of 6 NFL games for your shot to win Terry's money. It's completely free to play. Coming up, some pregnant pauses like Slick Rick does. Joe Burrow has plenty of reasons to be happy after last night's win. That's for you, Slick. I'll tell you if his Bengals will make some noise in the AFC next on Speak for Yourself. Tomorrow, mañana, it's another huge slate of college football on Fox. Join the Big Noon Kickoff crew for the biggest pregame party of the weekend, live from Madison, followed by Big Noon Saturday as Wisconsin hosts number 14, Michigan. Then 6th ranked Sooners face Kansas State. All starts tomorrow, 10 Eastern on Fox. Let's head to WKRP in Cincinnati, where Joe Burrow and his Bengals were down 14-0 at halftime, but came roaring back. Burrow led his squad on 4 straight scoring drives, including the game-winning field goal to beat the Jaguars. Duval. Bengals win moved them to 3-1 to start the season. So, Bucky, will Joe Burrow's Bengals make some noise in the AFC?
Absolutely. Joe Burrow is for real. I think last night was a great opportunity for the world to see what Joe Burrow and the Bengals have cooking. Joe Burrow is a franchise quarterback. I think we needed to see it confirmed on a big stage. And even though they're playing the quote-unquote lowly Jaguars, Joe Burrow showed us everything that we needed to see in the second half. 250 pass yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 4 straight scoring drives. And what I really like about this Bengals team is what they call the Fabulous Five. The Fabulous Five, as they outline it, Joe Burrow, Joe Nixon, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase. That skill group is as good as any in football. And as they continue to develop their confidence, man, we're seeing big things happen. The Bengals took care of business against the Steelers a week ago, then won a game where they was expected to win. Oh, the confidence is brimming. They're 3-1. This team is one that you're going to have to deal with.
Hey, Bucky, make some noise. Bucky, are you listening right now? You hear that pin drop? That's some noise, but was it a lie? Was it enough? Did it register? I mean, look, we're going to take notice of them because of their record. But every year we have segments, contenders and pretenders. And I got to put the pre in front of this team just because I don't see enough. Joe Burrow, everything you said, highlight it, frame it. Yes. I'm all in on Joe Burrow. Not totally all in on this offense just yet. I love me some talent of Joe Mixon. Not loving exactly the production I'm getting out of that same talent that I'm in love with. Whatever. 20th in yards, 16th in points. The team looks like with Joe Burrow at quarterback, and obviously we can see what they got at Jamar Chase at receiver. And did Joe Mixon? You're like, okay. And then you see the wins, but then you also don't see the same production. Last night was a great half for the Cincinnati Bengals, not a great game for the Cincinnati Bengals. You go down and you play against the Jacksonville Jaguars. You playing the Duval Jaguars, right? You should get in and out of there. 2 reasons. 1, you ever been to Duval? You know you don't want to get in, don't stay long. But 2, you play the Jaguars. Like, how many wins they got? They lost 19 in a row now, is it? Or is it 20? I'm sorry, I lost count. Point being, you got to get in and get out of that. That shouldn't be a nail biter messing up your cuticles at the end of a game, field goal win. So if a team's really going to make noise, I understand it's early in the season. They're trying to get their legs underneath them. Their quarterback's coming off a catastrophic injury, blah, blah, blah. But, boy, you got your win over Minnesota. Overtime. You lose to the Bears. You damn near lose to Jacksonville last night, and you beat the Steelers, which we know now are looking a little paper thin. I don't know how much noise they're going to make unless Bucky can hear this. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed. I'm a little disappointed that it's not Rick Bucher's Bengals, because if I have to suffer with this team for as long as I have, I should at least get some credit for that. But I get why we're calling him Joe Burrow's Bengals. And Bucky, I agree with you. Joe Burrow is for real. The offensive talent that you mentioned is legit, and I am genuinely excited to see what they are going to become. But in terms of making noise in the AFC North, I'm not ready to say that they are ready to that. I'm not going to get sucked into this. I can tell you, you can always pick out the Bengals fan in a crowd because they're made out of pure scar tissue. They get all hyped up, and then they get sliced, and then they got to let it scab over, and they got to recover. So I'm not going to go there just yet. I'm impressed with Zach Taylor. His clock management in that game quietly was really impressive for a young coach. But their defense, there's a distinction between being good and being better than expected. Ooh. There were really no expectations for this Bengals defense, and they have been better than expected. But they haven't necessarily been consistently good. The offensive line is also tremendously young. And my concern is that as the season goes on, while they have found some players and they found some talent that they can develop, that the depth of talent is not there. And you guys know that that makes the difference for teams as the season goes on. It's not just who your frontline guys are, but it's who can you go to once you lose a guy. And that's where I think the Bengals are still in danger of being exposed as this season goes on. As Marcellus mentioned, I mean, I look at who they've played, and particularly last night, which is why we're having this conversation. When you have to eke out a win against the and awful Jacksonville Fabios, that is not a great litmus test for saying that you are going to be a force to be reckoned with in the AFC North. Are they the worst team in the division? No, they're not. The Pittsburgh Steelers are that, and that is an upgrade for the Bengals. But are they better than the Browns and the Ravens? I'm not ready to go there.
Rick, I cannot believe you're so negative about your team. Look, as Sam White
Not
said,
negative, I'm realistic. Not negative, realistic.
You can live into this. How about a time where we may see the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals battling out for supremacy in the AFC North? We saw that a few.
Oh, I love it. Next year will be great.
We've seen the Bengals. They got new uniforms.
Ravens.
They got a new swag. They got a thermostat leader and Joe Burrow ready to change it. This is it, man. Embrace the new standard in Cincinnati. You actually can win games. And with a date with the Green Bay Packers on the horizon, it's another opportunity to legitimize the Cincinnati Bengals as a contender, not a pretender, as Marcellus Wiley is trying to disrespect.
Yeah, I'm not even listening to you anymore. I'm on my computer, Instagram or Twitter. I don't know which one. Once I heard you say they battling in the AFC North and didn't mention Baltimore, I was like, oh, Bucky gone. We lost Bucky. You're going to mention Cincinnati before you mention Baltimore. Don't you ever do that and disrespect my man Lamar Jackson like that. And don't you disrespect real contenders out there by trying to throw the Bengals in that conversation as well, Bucky Brooks. Joe Mixon out there smeezing, shout out to Heller, more than he's running the rock right now. All them East Oakland people and all that dancing they be doing. You see how hard he danced? I was like, won't you run as hard as you dancing, damn it, fool? Anyway, they only got one game over 100 yards rushing this year. And if you look at them in the passing game, they only got one game over 220 yards passing. In today's NFL, y'all need to stop. Okay, this is what I do. People don't really like me a lot because I talk in facts and I mess up dinner parties because I tell somebody I don't like that outfit. I don't give a damn. It ain't going to mess up my appetite, maybe yours. Here we go. Let's talk bad about the Bengals and mess up this dinner party. Only team in the NFL to lose to the Chicago Bears are your Bengals. That ain't too good. How about the three teams they beaten? Combined record of 3-10. Bucky, you want a duck or derb? Anyone? Needed a last-second field goal, not once, but twice in 2 of their 3 wins. What the hell are we talking about? 26 in penalties? How you going to be bad and not disciplined, even though you got a good record? I digress. Negative turnover margin. Bucky, you play football, bro. Negative turnover margin, penalized heavily, and then you can't really throw the rock like you should based on talent, and you're not running the football effectively. Bucky, you know how this adds up. This is how it adds up, Bucky. Ready for the main course? Okay. Final 6 weeks of the season. Y'all gonna realize what I'm talking about, pretenders, at this time. Watch this schedule. Chargers, damn. 49ers, damn. Broncos, damn. Ravens, damn. Chiefs, damn. And the Browns all in a row. Man, Bucky, you better save yourself, Slicks, help them, because they look like pretenders for real.
I mean, I just don't understand that. Like, we're over here fast forwarding to the end of the season. You're rattling off all these names. I don't know about that. I don't can worry about what is here. They're 3-1. And I can't worry about the cumulative effect of having win on field goals. I know at the end of the day, when we look at the record, it says that they are 3-1. They have won 3 games, and that puts them right where they need to be at the quarter pole. Now, we can talk about what they have coming up. Packers, Lions, Ravens, and Jets. It's reasonable to say that they could be 3-1 in the next quarter of the season. Very reasonable based on how they played. And so if we talk about this Cincinnati Bengals team being contenders, all you're trying to do is get to the halfway point in range where you can make a dash at the cash. They are right in range, and the team that I saw last night absolutely can do some damage.
Bucky, look, it's one thing to say that they can make some noise, and it's another to say that they're contenders. If you want to make the case that they could be a spoiler, that they could upset the Browns or the Ravens, and that could be the difference in deciding who wins the division, even my most optimistic part of me, I could say, okay, you know what? I'd love to see that. That would mean to me as much as beating the Steelers, which they've just consistently never been able to do. But the idea of them being contenders, look, I was there when Marvin Lewis and the Bengals started off 4-1, and we all got our hopes up in terms of what they were going to be that season because they came out of the gate so strong. I've seen this movie before, Bucky. I've seen all too many times how it ends, and you are right. I am looking forward to the day where it is the Bengals and the Browns or the Bengals and the Ravens or just about anybody competing for the division title again. But we are at least a year away from that being reality. So I'm just going to enjoy my little 3-1 record, and I am going to enjoy Joe Burrow developing and hitting Boyd and putting all that Jamar Chase being for real and Zach Taylor growing into being a real head coach. And I'm not going to put any expectations on this because, Bucky, I've done that before, and I have the scars to show it.
Woo!
Slick, you sat up there, you live in the Bay Area. The Golden State Warriors went from being nothing to something. Why can't the same things happen for the Cincinnati Bengals? We used to laugh about the Warriors. I used to sit in that arena when no one was in there, and they had the Thunder guy running around dunking. And then all of a sudden, they became Steph Curry's Warriors. Why can't they be Joe Burrow's Bengals since they can't be Rick Bucky's Bengals? I'm just saying. I wouldn't discount it.
Yes, Slick.
Bucky, Warriors didn't go worst to first. They had a couple years where they had to, build their way there.
I didn't say they were winning the Super Bowl.
To Bucky's point,
they can get in the tournament.
I'm with you, Bucky. To your point, they are on their way. But I ultimately with you, Slick. We've all seen this movie before. And Bucky, the brother doesn't make it. That's you, Bucky. Let's talk about a 3-1 record. A 3-1 record. I ain't that damn pessimistic. I'm going to say they're going to go 3-14. I'm like Slick, the most optimistic part of my body. Let's tap into that. Okay, they're going to go 4-13. Coming up, the Seahawks are at the bottom in the NFC West. They're going to win one more game, I guarantee it. For now, but I'll tell you if they are really the worst team in their division. Next on Speak for Yourself. Bucky, they already killed you off. You did. Love that. Clip the end.
The Seahawks have seen better days. They are currently in last place in the NFC West with a road game against the 49ers coming up Sunday on Fox. Russell Wilson is trying to avoid a 3-game losing streak for the first time in his career. And he said Thursday, quote, "The best thing to do is stay the course." So, Marcellus, I will ask you, are the Seahawks the worst team in the NFC West?
Yep. I knew the question. I read the bottom while you were reading it, and I knew you said Seahawks, and I had to think of the worst because I'm like, what is going on up there in Seattle? Now, this is a weird way to talk about this Seattle team because we're saying they're the worst of some great teams. Like, that's a division if you really want to talk about the NFC West. So we're still giving a compliment. I give it to you in story form. 2003, I judged the Miss Universe pageant. And I give you some of my candid conversations I had with two of my best friends who went with me. They were like, all right, tell me about the best contestant you met. All right, we going through the ranks. And they say, all right, who was the worst? And even the worst was still great. I was like, look, she had 2 PhDs. She knew 9 languages, amazing, beautiful, blah, blah, blah. I feel that way when I'm talking bad about the Seattle Seahawks. They're still a damn good team. You still got Russell Wilson out there. However, you start to look at some of their rankings and you start to realize why they're not going to come in first in this division. You can't be last in total defense. Legion of Boom, like that place nearly should implode right now. As soon as you get a last ranking in a place that used to be the Legion of Boom that still has the 12th man known for its defense, that's why they had the championship. Now, that's the worst unit in the entire NFL. And then you also look at them, you're like, where are they mentally? You know you're in a tough division, right? You got a new offensive coordinator. And everyone's still saying, let's remix the let Russ cook and let's see how that goes. Okay, let me tell you how it goes. It goes like this. You've now lost consecutive games with a double-digit lead. Now, that's obvious with a bad defense, the worst defense in the NFL. But what's not so obvious is that means that offense is sputtering as well, not continuing to put up points to the tune of last week in the second half. How many points did the Seattle Seahawks score? Exactly. Donut. So now you start to look at where's their mindset? Is there trust in their new system? Because, hey, the talent is there and supposedly the coaching is there. But something about them trusting this process and trusting their work because they're not finishing the deal, especially when it comes to having a lead and then going out there and preserving this lead. When you got a defense this bad and you got a new offensive coordinator that has not finished the deal in most of these games, it adds up to being the worst team in that division.
Yeah, Marcellus, I think you're right. The Seahawks are the worst team in the division. When you look at their complete team, offense, defense, special teams, they fall short of the other teams within the division. When I look at the LA Rams are a complete team. Mm-hmm. Solid offense, solid defense, get it done in the kicking game. Same can be said for the San Francisco 49ers, even though I might not be in love with Jimmy Garoppolo and his ceiling, at his floor level, he still is capable of winning a game. And then when we talk about Calvary and the explosive Arizona Cardinals offense, they have an opportunistic defense with some veterans that understand how to make timely plays. So now we're left with the Seahawks, who have a really good offense. Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, those guys. But defensively, man, they are leaking ore badly. And for a Pete Carroll team, Pete Carroll, who's a defensive-minded coach who built this team on the premise of being able to play great defense, the fact that they're at the bottom in defense, and they've been that way for the last couple of years, it's a problem. Nice players, Jamal Adams and Bobby Wagner, but not consistent enough to get it done. And then when you can't win at home, when the 12th man has been it's been your buffer, your support system, the thing that we always can count on, it points to a team that is really in trouble. I worry about the Seahawks this year.
Bucky, I understand all of that, and I agree with you. I think we are taking a lot of this and saying it because of what happened against the Vikings in their last game. And so it is a relatively small sample size. I can't argue with the idea that the Seahawks are the worst team in the division. I'm just not convinced it's going to stay that way. You mentioned the 49ers, and I look at who they've played and how they've played, and they haven't really impressed me either. Yes, they're 2-1 versus the Seahawks being 1-2, but when I look at strength of schedule and who they've played, I would have expected more from the 49ers. And then there's the question, you brought it up, Jimmy Garoppolo, how he's playing and whether he's going to stay healthy. And that is a real linchpin here because what we've seen from Trey Lance to this point, or the way Kyle Shanahan has used Trey Lance, is that he's not quite ready to take over this ship. So when I put all that together, especially when it comes to the defense, you made the point. We've never seen their defense this bad because Pete Carroll is traditionally a great defensive coach. That's why I have to believe that they are going to figure it out and they are not going to be as bad as they've been through the opening weeks of this season. So as of right now, there's no argument. You guys pointed out the rankings, the record, everything. But if I'm looking at the overall talent, especially when it comes to the coaching element, then I still believe that the Seahawks, while they're not going to compete with the Rams, and I don't believe they're going to compete with the Cardinals, I believe that they can avoid the bottom because the 49ers are going to beat them there.
It's going to be tough to avoid the bottom when you're worst in your division in scoring, and you're the worst defense in your division. Yeah, well, that's the bottom in this division.
So far.
Well, look, are we going to see a rookie come out of nowhere? Because the only rookie that matters right now for them is their offensive coordinator in Shane Waldron. Now, look, respect to him, but look what he's dealing with. He's walking into a situation where the Seahawks, last 12 games in their division, 7-5. They mess around with mediocrity. They're wrestling around with 500 damn near. One division title in the last 5 years. Seattle, yeah. Like, it's weird. I don't know if we're still just having, visions of yesterday and sitting there in nostalgia talking about the Legion of Boom. Legion of Boom, they are last in the entire NFL in defense. Name the team. Yep, they're worse than them on defense. So what are we talking about in Seattle? It's really silly. I love doing homework because when you look at the numbers, it just slaps you upside the head in terms of your emotions and the story you were telling yourself. I was telling myself Seattle's much better than this in this division. But after doing the research on this, they got a problem. Cardinals, Rams, and 49ers, all top 10 in the league in scoring. Okay, so we're not going to outscore them, it looks like, so far, right? And then you compliment that, not really a compliment, with the worst defense? Bucky. Oh, Slick. Somebody help me. I don't see how this team's going to dig itself out of this grave.
Yeah, no, I don't know how they're going to dig themselves out of the grave. I think this is a serious situation for the Seahawks. Yeah. And the fact that they're coming off back-to-back games where the run has hurt them. First, you see Derek Henry run for 1,000,000 yards in the second half and in overtime to take that win. And then you see Alexander Madison, who – Alexander Madison run for 125 yards against him for the Minnesota Vikings. It is a problem because, as we all know it, when you start to put that bad stuff on film, everybody copies it. And with the Niners, the Rams, and even the Steelers and the Saints, oh, man, you talk about 4 tough games in a row. This does not look great for the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson is going to have to be Houdini. He's going to have to pull a rabbit out the hat to make this happen.
Yeah, man. I think there's also just got to highlight once again, when you got a new offensive coordinator, it's not about the plays he's calling. It's not about the work you're putting in. It's about, in the moment of truth, do you trust what you were told to do? And that takes time in any relationship. When we're doing this show, it takes time for us to know, all right, he done talking. All right, he about to get a joke in. Like, we just learned the nonverbal communication just because we're around each other. They haven't been around each other long enough. I remember when Dwight Howard was out here for the Lakers and seeing him in practice. We used to go to the practice and see him. They would have on the whiteboard, 90% Dwight Howard would shoot free throws in practice. But he didn't trust his work. He didn't trust that process. He gets into the game, same distance, same ball, same rim, same net, and will miss those same things because of that lack of trust of his work. But now let's highlight something that's positive, because we've been talking about the bottom right now. I want to talk about my top dog in Bucky Brooks, and got to give you and your family some love.
There we go.
Proud baseball dad moment right here. Bucky, let us know what's going on with little man as he Spartans up.
Oh, no. So my son Trey is playing at San Jose State. They just announced a newcomer, so I got a chance to really celebrate him. Normally, I'm pretty quiet about stuff that's going on around the career, particularly with my kids. And so it was a proud moment to see my little guy look there throwing. Had a little scrimmage. So, yeah. What's up, Trey?
I love it, Bucky. Appreciate you. Even though the first time I saw you was you coaching at a baseball game, and you was like, hey, Marcellus, look at my son. He going to San Jose State. But, yeah, you keep it quiet at home, but when you get out, usually you're pretty loud. You should be loud. You should be proud, man. Congratulations. Salute to the Brooks family. Coming up, Tom Brady sounds like he's fine with how his New England exit went down. Tell you if I'm really buying that. That's next on Speak for Yourself. Congrats, Buck, for real. According to a new book, Bill Belichick said he was not available to meet Tom Brady face-to-face when his quarterback was set to leave New England, and insisted they talk on the phone instead. Call me, homie. Belichick was asked about it before their matchup on Sunday night and said, quote, That's not true. Brady was also asked about it and sounded okay with how it all went down. Listen.
You know, we had a great relationship. I think everything was handled the right way. You know, we handled everything as gracefully as we could. It was an amazing, like I said, time, and it was handled perfectly. I think everyone understood, you know, where we're at, the people involved in the situation, and you know, things worked out for the best for all of us.
Doc Rivers' voice over here defending Ben Simmons. Okay, gotta bring in co-host of The Herd, Joy Taylor. That's right. So, Joy, you buying Tom Brady's praise of his Patriots exit?
No. No. No, come on. Now, one thing we know about Tom Brady is he is excellent at quarterback speak. He did it for 20 years. That was a bunch of word salad. If everything was perfect there, why is he in Tampa Bay? Now, I don't have a problem with him not throwing extra, wood on the fire in this situation. He's coming back. It's going to be a very emotional night for everyone. I think he has a tremendous amount of respect for that organization, that city, the fans, the owner, and Bill Belichick. So I don't have a problem with him not telling us everything that happened. To be honest with you, I don't want the whole story. I don't want to hear all of the tea right now because the legacies are still being written for Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. When they're both away from the game, spill all the tea. I want to know all the secrets, honey. But right now, they still have children to raise. They don't need to be dogging each other out in public. We got to keep the drama a little under wraps until everybody's cool. I don't have a problem with how he's handling it. But no, I don't believe it was a songstress into the wind. Like, there was obviously some drama on the way out. There was obviously some animosity with how everything was handled. And Tom doesn't have to tell us what it is. But no, I do not believe that it was a nice, easy breakup. We've seen how Bill Belichick handles these things. We've seen how he's treated Tom Brady over the years, despite the fact that he's the greatest to ever do it. I'm fine with it, but no, I'm not believing that.
Yeah, you ain't even got to be so eloquent next time you say it. Just say it like I'm going to say it. He lying, and we already know he lying. And it's okay, because sometimes you got to do the wrong thing for the right reason. And this was the right reason. Like, don't add any gas to this situation. I don't want him to go out there and poo-poo on the dynasty any more than everyone else is poo-pooing on the dynasty. I tell my wife this all the time because now we're into this, kids going to school and legacy schools. And as you guys know, I went to Columbia University. And no school is perfect. We all went to our schools, right? No school is perfect. But one thing I would never do, no matter what school I went to, is bash it because I need that reputation of that school always to be at its greatest point because it's going to pay itself forward for the rest of my life. So we're not going to bash what I did with Bill Belichick if I'm Tom Brady, because that's going to have an impact and effect on me for the rest of my life. And Tom Brady got a lot of books to sell going forward post-retirement. We know how Tom Brady talks. He's Brady ticking, as they call it. Not politicking, just Brady ticking. Brand conscious. I'm always going to say the right things, and then I'm going to go out there and light your butt up. We know Anthony Smith from the Pittsburgh Steelers, when he was trying to poke at Tom Brady didn't take the bait. Oh, no, it's fine. Hey, look at Lady Pittsburgh in the middle, knows who I'm talking about right here. Went out in that game and gave Anthony Smith the business with the football and his words. Tom Brady speaks in actions, not in words, and I respect him for doing this and not adding fuel to this fire.
Yeah, tic-tac-toe, 3 in a row, without question. And it's the real tell is that he's so effusive. It was beautiful. It worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, come on, Tom. Who are you? Are you trying to convince us? Or are you trying to convince yourself? Or are you trying to paint this in terms of, well, it worked out beautifully for me a year later.
Hello.
But if I recall how things were at the time, no, it didn't go smoothly at the time. There were plenty of hard feelings that had to be got over. And you mentioned schools, Marcellus, but it goes for employment in various places, too. I worked at 2 other major networks, and if I loved everything that had gone on there, I might still be there. But the reality is, do I appreciate that I had the opportunity to be there and to do what I did? Absolutely. And I feel the same way with Tom Brady. He appreciates what he was able to accomplish with New England, but to Joy's point, like, there's a reason that he left and went to Tampa Bay. And what I really love, and we didn't play the tape, but if you play the tape all the way through, you'll hear him in every time he's asked about New England. It is, Yeah, no. It was a great 20 years. But I love my coaches now, and I love my players now, and I love being in Tampa Bay. He can't pivot quickly enough to talk about where he is and how much he appreciates what he has right now. So Tom Brady's not a dumb guy. He's subtly letting you know, yeah, that was a good 20 years, but man, am I in a great place now. And if it had worked out all so beautifully for the last 20 years and was capable of still working out and moving forward, then we wouldn't have heard from Alex Guerrero. We wouldn't have this book and its suggestion. I mean, how can things really honestly end well when you have an emotional cyborg like Bill Belichick? I just don't see any ending ever being this smooth. Let's give each other a hug and a bro pound and go on our way. It's going to be a tough parting. That's not, look, I'm not suggesting that there's anything wrong with that. It's a business. But that said, what Tom is trying to sell, I'm not buying.
No, and all breakups don't have to be perfect. I mean, rarely are they. You're separating for a reason. You're going separate ways because you're not on the same page. Now, sometimes it can be a little more loving and understanding than others, but I don't know Bill Belichick personally, but he certainly doesn't give us a very warm public presence, nor does he have to. But it's been documented that he was not very warm to Tom Brady. They didn't have that kind of relationship. And when you become the status that Tom Brady is, and you come to expect that on some level, which is perfectly reasonable, then yeah, the breakup is going to be a little bumpy, which is why, to your point, Rick, when he's using these very specific words, and we know that Tom Brady is very smart and he's very good with his words because he had to be for 20 years doing the Patriot way, saying a whole lot of nothing in New England, on to Cincinnati. That's the mantra. He knows what he's doing when he says those things. And again, it's not a problem to me. I don't want the drama right now. I want, personally, to watch the rest of Tom Brady's career without knowing everything to the completion of what happened in New England, make my assessment of his greatness, see what Bill Belichick is doing in this new chapter, moving on from the greatest quarterback of all time onto a rookie quarterback. What's he going to do with the rest of his time in New England? Those two stories are interesting enough to me on their own. When these two come to the end of their careers and their legacies, and then they want to spill the tea, honey, I'm ready. I want to hear all of it. But right now, I don't want it to sway how I feel about what they're accomplishing, because this did get a little personal. It did get a little rough. There's some things in the book that are, not so flattering to Bill Belichick. So, it could change our opinion of it. And to both of your points, you don't want to dog the place where you accomplished all these things and dampen what you've done there, which is an incredible all-time legacy that will probably never be repeated in the history of sports.
Yeah, people always say don't burn bridges. Acho and I were talking about this. And the reason I don't burn bridges is not because I need to cross over that bridge again. It's because simply I helped build that bridge. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Regardless if I ever cross it again, that's my work right there. And Tom Brady's like, no, New England, that's my work right there. I'm not going to burn that bridge. I respect him for that. One of the Wileyisms I love, in part because it's a Wileyism, but any relationship that ends, you spend half the time breaking up. And then you know what? You start going back, you're like, damn, we were together for about 8 months. About 4-5 months in, it started to look a little different, at least mentally. Then the Red Lobster fight started occurring. I hate to do this to you, Joy. You said you don't want to mess up how you feel about this game. Well, I'm about to mess it up a little bit. Tom Brady, we called you out for this, but Bill Belichick may be just in the way he's feeling as well. Maybe he shouldn't have said goodbye to you face to face, because let's go back to 2014 when Bill Belichick tried to draft your successor in Jimmy G. And then you fast forward when he's like, okay, it's time for me to insert or at least get ready the successor. Jimmy G's agent, who is Tom Brady's agent, who is the consultant to Bob Kraft, all ganged up and said, get Jimmy G up out of here so he can play and make Tom happy. So Belichick is like, now you fast forward to this moment. I got Mac Jones and a rookie cool. But I could have had Jimmy G, the winner, who's not a rookie. So you forced my hand. And then you going to lead to a fully formed team, going to have all those riches and resources around you and win a Super Bowl in the first year. Meanwhile, in an alternative universe, I was trying to live my life post Tom Brady. So if you hear that, Slick, maybe that adds a little color to why Bill said, nah, dog, deuces, call me.
Yeah. This is when we're going to find out just how accurate Tom Brady is in his assessment of how things ended. Because there's going to be an opportunity at some point for Tom Brady and Bill Belichick to cross paths at this game. Beforehand, somewhere at some point. And it's not going to be a matter, I mean, I would be surprised if Bill didn't even, meet him at some point, if he avoided that meeting. But let's say they do. Let's just see how effusive and beautiful and perfect that little exchange is. Because you think about what they've accomplished and how much time they spent together. I would hope that that would be a legitimate, perfect, emotional reunion where, it's the bygones, it's whatever, and there's a genuine appreciation for each other. And I'm just not sure that we're going to see it.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to talk at all. That's honestly, aside from the game, I'm most interested in that interaction. Do they hug? Do they just shake hands? Because when you think of different coaches, legendary coaches like Andy Reid, if this is him, I mean, they're hugging it out.
Yeah.
Right? There's some tears,
Yeah.
some snot bubbles.
Yeah.
There might be some kisses involved, okay? But Pete Carroll, I'm just trying, even like Sean Payton, Bill Belichick, I'm so interested to see what that interaction is.
Yeah, one sideline, the robots coming, and then Brady ticking, and they meet in the middle. See, here's the problem. Brady's the one that's going to be stuck because you can't read Belichick. He spent 20 years with him and still probably can't read him. So you don't want to be the one on worldwide TV out there reaching and Belichick hits you with that little half hoodie, half on the back. So Brady's going to be the one you got to focus in on. If Brady commits, we might get a moment. Coming up, there's not a whole lot of brotherly love at midfield with Belichick or going on in Philly right now. I tell you, if I have a problem with Joel Embiid calling out Ben Simmons next on Speak for Yourself. That's a good prop bet.
Let's get to the ongoing drama in Philly. There have been several reports that Ben Simmons does not want to be a Sixer anymore. Now the latest update said he also has an issue with playing alongside Joel Embiid. As expected, Embiid was asked about this Thursday. Take a listen.
It is surprising, but I'm really focused on the guys that are here. The situation is weird, disappointing, borderline kind of disrespectful to all the guys that are out here.
So, Marcellus, do you have a problem with Joel Embiid calling out Ben Simmons?
Ultimately, I do. This is going to be nuanced, at least I hope so, as I'm thinking it's layered. Ben Simmons, look, everybody just trying to tell you in so many ways. They're trying to be nice. They're trying to go through the back door, the side window. Hey, it would be good if you could learn how to shoot. It would really help us all out. Yeah, all right. And he's receiving that in a way that I wouldn't receive it. I would be like, all right, I get it. You want me to just fix this part of the game and everything else adds up and I'm a complete player. Gotcha. But Joel Embiid, man, I got a problem with you, big dog, calling out Ben Simmons like that. One, you my teammate, so it's a different way to get to me. Like, Joy, you have a different channel to get to me than the people out there in the streets and social media, etc. Slick Rick the same. We text all the time. We got different channels of communication. You my teammate, don't you ever give them that code to that channel and tell them my worst secrets, my dirty business, my nasty business. He went there after a postseason game and said, well, if he would have made this shot, we would have got points. And then, whoa, now time out. Now I got to cut you. You're talking about, well, if you came here and played and the team was better and the role players and people wouldn't have to go out there and take less money. That is a you problem, role player. That is a you problem, Joel Embiid or GM. It is not a Ben Simmons problem that I got to be on the team so somebody who's sorry can actually have employment. That ain't on Ben Simmons. Told you this is going to be layered. So now Joel Embiid, duck all 7 feet of you. Because last time I checked, you missed 2 full seasons to start off your career. We remember that. But since then, you still missed a third of all possible games. Wait a minute. Of 391 games, you've missed 131. And you've only twice played over 51 games, Joel Embiid. Now, we talk about the playoffs, and we talk about Ben Simmons can't shoot. Can we talk about you protecting the basketball? Do y'all remember when he was averaging nearly 4 turnovers a game? Second most turnovers per game of any player in this postseason? Joel Embiid. See, this is the problem. Everybody got receipts. I remember we used to scout Peyton Manning. Everybody was like, yo, he's unbeatable. He's the sheriff. He's MVP, MVP, MVP. And we always had dual-sided scouting reports. One side, yeah, he is the MVP. Other side is, you can get to him as well. Joel Embiid, time to flip that paper around. Stop talking about Ben Simmons. Look in the mirror, homeboy.
Okay.
Wusa?
First of all, Ben Simmons is not trying to be Joel Embiid's teammate at all. So you don't have to honor the teammate communication thing because he's not trying to be his teammate. In fact, there was a report that the Sixers players were trying to go talk to Ben Simmons, and he said, no thank you. No need. Don't even get on that plane. Not interested. So Joel Embiid talking about Ben Simmons at this point is fair game. He's not his team. He's not trying to be his teammate. Also, Ben Simmons is publicly trying to get out of Philadelphia. So there is nothing private here. We knew that this was trending this way. The situation should not be a surprise to anyone. What is a surprise to me is that it's gotten to this point. We saw this coming. We saw this coming on the court, which is what Joel Embiid was talking about, that they've sort of shaped the team around whatever Ben Simmons needed, and now all of a sudden he wants out because he still doesn't feel like he's going to be the guy. And intangibly, he probably isn't the guy. All those things you said are true. There's fair critiques of Joel Embiid's game. But as of right now, this is Joel Embiid's team, and he's sticking up for his organization and his team and the guys that he is playing with. Ben Simmons doesn't owe the role players anything. I would agree with you there. That's just Joel Embiid being a good teammate to the guys who are actually there. But he is not lying here. It's the truth. They build it around him, and they haven't had success. They've leaned into everything that Ben Simmons does well to try and make it work. It doesn't work. It doesn't fit. Everyone saw this. We've been talking about this for years.
True.
There's plenty of blame to go around here. I don't put it all on Ben Simmons. I don't put it all on the organization. And I generally side with players in these situations, but Ben Simmons hasn't held up his end of the bargain on the court. He does do one thing elite. Two things. He is an elite defender, and he is a great distributor. He can score. We know what he can do when everything is laid out for him. But this is not a successful situation, and Joel Embiid is well within his boundaries to talk about how this has all gone down, especially because Ben Simmons is saying he doesn't want to be there anymore.
Marcellus, you made about as strong a case as you could to defend Joel Embiid, but just not strong enough. No, there is no problem that I have with Joel Embiid calling out Ben Simmons because he's having to respond in this instance to reports that Ben Simmons has an issue playing with Joel Embiid, that the reason that he doesn't want to be there is because they've built the team around Joel Embiid. And I thought that these guys were supposed to be teammates and cornerstones of the same process to win championships for Philadelphia. So as I see it, Ben Simmons is the first guy who's asked off the boat. And without telling us, because here's the thing, at least Joel Embiid is out front. When he was asked, and I agree with you on this point, like, you don't throw your teammate under the bus after a playoff game and say that we lost essentially because he didn't take that shot. That one shot, that clip, we can show the clip again. If you see it, he beats his man, he gets inside, and there's another Atlanta Hawk coming at him. Okay, he doesn't recognize right away that it's Trae Young. I don't have to worry about Trae Young. I should just be dunking this on Trae Young's head. He's thinking there's another guy coming. Oh, there's a teammate on the baseline. I'm going to give him the ball to finish it, and they crash. You're going to lay the entire loss on that one play. Joel Embiid, you're not doing right by Ben Simmons. And then Doc Rivers afterward, he can come back and say all he wants about how he didn't question whether he can win with Ben Simmons. He questioned whether he could win with Ben Simmons because he couldn't answer the question in the affirmative that he could win with Ben Simmons. So if Ben feels some kind of way, that's fine. But I'd like to hear it from Ben. I don't want to hear it from sources. I don't want to hear it from his agent. I don't want to hear it from them. So in this case, Embiid is simply having to respond to a question about his relationship with Ben Simmons that suggests that Ben Simmons isn't happy with that relationship. And so I cannot fault Joel Embiid for what he's saying now. What he's done before, yeah. Joel, you had a part in this coming apart. But as for where we are right now, now he's just trying to put a bow on it.
Joel Embiid, I ain't letting him off the hook. I don't know why y'all are. We supposed to be brothers. Y'all want to blame this on Ben Simmons when Joel Embiid is the first one that gave me that public fire. He just sent the first shot up in the air. After a playoff game, you gonna shoot at me? Oh, it's called self-defense after that point. I'm just defending myself and my name. And yeah, when Tom Brady beefs with Bill Belichick, does Tom Brady respond in a way where he got to shoot back? Nah, he just gets rid of it. When Deshaun Watson is beefing with the Houston Texans, you got any other teammates? You got anybody else coming out there jumping in and that? Joel Embiid. Bro, you started this. Ben Simmons just responded to this, and I think he should. But that's what happens when teammates go from being your boy and your teammate to a team ambassador. Y'all look in the middle of ambassador, and y'all gonna know how that feels. That's what he's acting like right here. Okay, we talking about the plane last week where everybody was gonna fly out to L.A. on the jet, and he's like, nah, don't do that. You know why he don't want y'all to do that? Because he don't want y'all in the middle of this. Joel Embiid started a fight. Okay, I'm Ben Simmons. You better recognize. Joel Embiid, y'all gonna build the franchise around him. All right. Let's see how they've been doing in their division. I ain't even talking about the conference. I ain't talking about the entire NBA. 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd. Division? 1st. Yay. Eastern Conference semis, L. Conference first round, L. Conference L. Conference. And that was with both of them. Now you're going to do it with Joel Embiid? Good luck with that team ambassador. Coming up, Derek Carr says playing the Chargers in L.A. Ooh, Joey mad at me. Feels like a home game. I'll tell you if I love or hate that comment. Next, don't speak for yourself. Too much, Joy?
Let me guess.
Derek Carr's Raiders are on the road against my Chargers right here in L.A. Monday night. Oh, yeah, I'll be there. Carr does not think it is really a road game because of Raider Nation. Take a listen. Yeah, right.
Whether it was in Los Angeles at that soccer stadium or in Qualcomm in San Diego, it was another home game. You always looked at it as another home game, and that's no disrespect, it's just a fact. I fully expect Raider Nation to, take over the majority of the stadium again. They usually do.
Oh, no disrespect. Just a fact. Oh, so Slick, you love or hate Derek Carr's comments about my Chargers?
Marcellus, you already know. I love those comments.
What?
I love that I get to be on this show and talk about how much I love those comments with you, Marcellus Wiley. First of all, how often do we get to hear Derek Carr talk smack? He never talks smack like that, and he's just matter-of-factory laying it out. Yeah, whether it was at that soccer stadium that they played at or down at Qualcomm in San Diego. Pretty much doesn't matter. When the Raiders play the Chargers in Southern California, we own that B. And what I am imagining, one of the reasons why I enjoy it so much is I am picturing Marcellus Wiley. I'm glad you said you're going to be there.
Damn right I am.
Some other pressing appointment. I see Marcellus Wiley with his Chargers foam finger surrounded by the black hole of the Raiders, because they are going to come out in force. And look, this is also what I appreciate about the LA Raiders fans, is that the Raiders came and they went. And then they had an opportunity to go back to LA and they chose not to. They went to Vegas. And the LA Raiders fans don't care. The Oakland Raiders fans, I know a lot of them, they've sworn off the Raiders. I've sworn off the Raiders. They just moved one too many times. But the LA Raiders fans, they're like, no, you're our team, and you'll always be our team. And no matter whether you play in a soccer stadium or down in that dump in San Diego, we are going to show out in force. And we're going to let our man Marcellus know that we are there. So, yes, I love it.
I, too, love it. One little fact about me, Joy Taylor, I love villains. Can't have a good story without a great villain. And that's what the Raiders brand is. They're the villains. Even Derek Carr, who's not generally very spicy, even in this comment, he's just just very, matter of fact about it. It's just a fact. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. All I'm saying is we've got better fans. Raider Nation shows up. It's just facts. They're playing in this beautiful Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas now, so he feels good about it. They're winning. So what's he supposed to say? And is he telling any lies? No, Marcellus. He's not really lying.
Y'all finished or y'all done?
He's not really lying. No, I'm not done yet. I like it. I like it from Derek Carr. It's a division game. Add a little extra spice to it. They're winning. They're feeling good about themselves. It's okay to talk a little trash. And he's not lying.
He's not lying? Oh, okay. I'm not even going to tell you if I love or hate this because y'all already know what this is. I'm going to be matter of fact as well. Not spicy.
Okay.
Because I like Derek Carr, or at least I was starting to like Derek Carr. Oh, lesser than his brother Buck, because his brother was #1 overall pick. But I ain't going to go there on Derek Carr because, he's just a little brother in the family still. I'm going to go there as a matter of fact and look at him. Why you talking about the fans, big dog? You going to come out here and lose anyway. Last time I checked, your record is 50-63. So don't they split the schedule home and away? So it don't matter who in the crowd, whether it's all Raider Nation and Black Hole, I dare them to come out here. Or you at home, you still gonna lose more than you gonna win. This the same dude that moved next to his head coach in Las Vegas? Is this the same Derek Carr? See, dog, I used to play, so I ain't like these other journalists and hosts up here. I got snaps. Building the apple tree in the backyard to give to Gruden every day to go to practice, but just because I'm going to live next to coach, so I'm going to make sure he don't trade me this year. Now, you balling this year. I give you that. But where you going to take that L when you come out here to Chargerville? I will be there.
Chargerville?
Oh, I know you're not talking, Joy, Miss Dolphins or Steelers.
Chargerville.
Dolphins or Steelers, Joy.
Born and raised in Pittsburgh. We know why I'm a Dolphins fan, okay?
The Pittsburgh part and the Dolphins part. Okay.
It's all blood.
Slick. You better not talk either Raiders or Bengals, Slick. See, y'all ain't real fans up here, bro. This is all Charger powder blue flowing through my veins right here. I will be there. Front row, end zone. I don't need no black hole. It's just me, big dog. Phone finger. And my big old blue link chain. Coming up, I hate you, Derek Carr, right now. That was a good joke. Dak's Cowboys have a big test against the undefeated Panthers. I'll tell you how much confidence I have in Dallas next weekend. Next, don't speak for yourself. Trying to win a press conference, but not the game.
The Cowboys have won back-to-back games, but they have a big test at home against the undefeated Panthers Sunday on Fox. Carolina is coming in with the #1 total defense in the NFL, but the Cowboys are still favored by 4.5 points, according to Fox Bet Sportsbook. So, Joy, how confident are you in the Cowboys this weekend?
I'm confident. I do think that Carolina will cover 4.5, but I'm confident that the Cowboys are going to win this game. I do think that the reason that the Cowboys are favored, aside from Dak and everything that they did last week, is their defense. Cowboys defense is much improved. Forget what you saw last year. This is a whole new lineup. They're playing faster. They're more aggressive. They have playmakers that are making plays, which is what you want. So I like the Cowboys in this game to win. I'm confident in them at home. I love what the Panthers have done so far, but I'm not gonna give the game to the Panthers as of yet. They do have a couple injuries as well coming in there. Sam Darnold is still a little inconsistent throughout the whole course of the game. So I'm going Cowboys to win, but Panthers to cover.
Yeah, I am right there with you. I don't think that the Cowboys are going to cover, but I believe that they could win. I'm not confident in them, and there are several reasons. And I'm just going to bring facts to the party as to why I am not confident in the Cowboys. And first, let's look at exactly what they're going up against in the Carolina Panthers when it comes to that defense. #1 in scoring defense, #2, if I'm not mistaken, in total defense. And so when I look at that, they haven't faced anything close to this, and certainly didn't face it against the Eagles, which is why everybody's so hyped up about the Cowboys right now. And why is this important? Well, it's important because of what Dak Prescott does when he plays against simply top 10 defenses, and particularly outside of the division. The record is not quite the same as what we have seen so far this season in back-to-back wins or overall. And that's the great test that the Cowboys have to face here. Because as much as the defense has improved, and the reason that I think that they could win is because that defense is going to put pressure on Sam Darnold. And if you look at Sam Darnold's record on the road in general, it's not good. And now put him in Jerry World against that defense. I don't have a whole lot of confidence in Sam Darnold. But I don't have a whole lot of confidence in Dak Prescott playing against this kind of defense either. And for all of the weapons that they have, and as good as that defense has played, let's face it, people are talking about Dak Prescott as an MVP candidate. There's a reason, because everything begins and ends with how he plays. And Carolina, based on his history, has the perfect formula to make the game difficult for Dak Prescott.
I'm not a gambling man. Acho always tries to make me gamble, and it sounds like Joy is too. She's talking about covering and winning. They gonna win, but they gonna cover. I don't know about all that. All I know is Dallas Cowboys gonna blow these boys out. Let me tell you why. It's this simple. I've just pieced all of this together. Sam Darnold still a little inconsistent, correct? Joy just said that. I'll give you a piece of that. No C-Mac in this game, correct? He's hurt again. Missed 13 games last year. C-Mac, damn, you're a beast. But stay healthy, big dog. Okay, so now you start looking at this number one defense. Oh, but they're going to be on the field a lot longer with an inconsistent quarterback with no running game. Interesting. Enter the Dallas Cowboys, who are going to exploit that defense. Carolina's defense, great, except in the red zone. Tied for 30th and giving up points against the number 6 scoring offense in the Dallas Cowboys. Add all that up, Dallas wins. Enjoy. They covered, too. Coming up, the Chiefs are in last place. Did I say that right?
Yes.
In their division. I'll tell you if the AFC should still fear them. Next, don't speak for yourself. But they got to win by 4. That's what. The Chiefs have dropped 2 straight and are in last place in the AFC West. Wow, really said that. Next up is a road game against the Eagles. Patrick Mahomes said it's time to go now, adding, quote, "We've got our back against the wall." You think? So, Slick, should the AFC still fear the Chiefs?
No, they shouldn't fear them. They should still respect them, because if you look at who they've played, the Browns, Ravens, and Chargers, that's 3 quality teams. And so being 1 and 2 isn't the worst thing in the world. But when you have a defense that is playing as poorly as theirs is right now, even the threat of Patrick Mahomes and what he's capable of, if you give him the ball last with the game in a 1-score situation, that's something that you have to respect. And you know this, Marcellus. When you're playing against a team that can score but they can't defend, you're always like, okay, we always got a chance. Like, we always got a shot, because we may not be able to stop them, but they're not able to stop us. So respect, yes. Fear, not at this point.
I wouldn't even have too much respect for them. Maybe they just full of the hype. They've lost 3 of their last 4 games. You want to go back to last year? Respect what? Fear what? Nobody's scared of y'all. Show up and show out. What did Bill Parcells say? You are what your record says you are. Well, if you got a losing record, I'm coming into the game like we should be the favorites, no matter who you face. A little hyperbole I just spit out, but at the same time, their defense is so bad, you can be confident, maybe even cocky against this team, because Patrick Mahomes, you're great, maybe not great enough. Have a great weekend, y'all. Fox Bet Live. They're next. Peace.